and brand. We're going to do hello. Good evening, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to another episode of After the
Weekend.
Yeah. After what I've seen on Twitter today, I am definitely weakened. Definitely weakened. I have never seen so many insane things except for today. So, but yes, welcome to After the Weekend, the podcast show where we review movies after the weekend.
For the weekend.
Yeah, and for your weekend that's coming up. Unless you've seen the movie previously, and then you can just rumble with us.
Yes.
So
I think on is it Wednesday? This Wednesday we get to see Gay Venom.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! You just had to say it. You had to say it. Oh god. Okay, I have my thoughts on that, and I put it on Master TDS's stream. It was just my rumbling because he got tagged as a homophobe because he didn't want a relationship between Venom and Eddie Brock, which is okay. I mean, it's an alien and a human. And I'm like thinking, he's like, I'm kind of wondering, if Venom is an alien, why have they assumed that it is a male, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty presumptuous. And if he isn't a male, well, the whole gay relationship and like the coming out party is just pretty pointless,
Yeah,
so
because he's a black glob of ooze
that feeds off you.
That's
such a loving relationship.
That can eat things. Yeah, it would have been much better if they just said he genuinely just loved Eddie, and in terms of like if they made it a bromance, right?
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that was just the most insane thing that I've heard. I really wanted to give the Oscar for that. Really the Oscar, because that was just So I just want to say hello to everybody here. Yes, Dan. You know what I'm wearing.
Don't fall asleep, Dan. You got to watch the whole thing.
Dan, you know what I'm wearing, right? You can see it, right?
I feel like there should be like a drum roll.
No, that sounds like a cat purr.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes.
Well, Dan can kind of see what I'm using to drink with.
I am wearing my beautiful hoodie of Inside the Booth with the Sketchy Guys. Get it
Very
right
nice.
And I love that it's red because I love to say, I've been red pilled. So
who's that pretend guy between Tabitha and Dan on your hoodie though? I can't figure that out.
I think they tell me he's a Canadian.
Yeah, he looks Canadian.
He does not, Some sort of ghosts, but yeah. Anyway, so hi Dan, hi Tabitha. It's been so great to see you, Avery and Dax. Dax, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Every little subscriber counts. I just got a notification because sometimes I get them and sometimes I don't. But I got yours. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Dunadan, thank you for coming. It's always great to see you here. Great to interact with you guys on Twitter. So, what are we going to be reviewing tonight? R2.
Ooh, we're gonna be reviewing another Jennifer Connelly movie, The
I can't
Rocketeer.
believe it. I can't believe that. I just can't believe it.
We didn't,
I went.
we didn't plan for
Okay.
it. You guys voted on this one. I gave choices, so you can't blame me either.
Well, I got a confession to make. I did vote for The Rocketeer, but I had no idea that Jennifer Connelly was going to be on it. I just voted it because I hadn't seen it, and I was like, okay, well, I haven't seen this movie, and it's like from the '90s. I really want to see it. And then when you
Well,
said
and
another movie,
yeah, I posted that picture, and then it was like a week later. You're like, Jennifer Connelly's in this again? What?
I never knew that. I didn't know that. So I just blindly went with what I thought was, and it is, and we'll get to that.
Yeah,
A good movie. A good movie.
it is.
So,
It's a really good movie.
yeah.
I think one of my favorites.
Well, anyway, so
yeah.
I hope you guys have you guys seen it? If you haven't,
Yes.
beware. Because
Well, Mrs. R2 and Little Spider-Man watched it with me last week, so I know they've
and
seen
they're
it.
on the channel. Hi,
Yes,
Mrs.
they're on.
R2. Hi, Little Spider-Man.
Hello.
So beware of spoilers. As always,
Yes.
we're going to be
If you have
spoiling.
not, if you haven't seen this 30-year movie by now, beware, there's spoilers.
Spoiler alert coming up. Let's get into this.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
Well,
General sense, I love the film. I never really got to see it when I was back in the 90s. It's just one of those things that escapes, it just goes through your fingers. And after that, I really never had a chance to watch it. But I thought it was a great film. If I'm not mistaken, it's based on a comic.
yeah, it's a graphic novel by Dave Stevens.
Mm-hmm. Very, very American.
Yeah. I didn't look it up, but I want to say I think it's from like early mid 80s too when he wrote the graphic novel too. So it had been around a little bit before it got made.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did do a little bit of research, and I did see a few of the comics that he posted, and they're online. If anybody wants to check them out, you can go check out the Rocketeer online comics. They're basically all up. You just gotta know where to look. But hey, Rogue Disney's here.
Hey,
hi,
Tom,
Rogue
how are you? Thank you for coming.
And sorry about your cat, Dax.
Oh no.
Yeah, Dan, I
sorry.
really wanted to wake you up just in case you were asleep beside your fireplace there, and I'm sorry about your cat, Dax, but no can do. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and I did see this in the theater as a kid. I have like vivid memories of it, but I do remember going to the theater to see it and really liked it and thought it was cool. And this was directed by Joe Johnston, who did the first Captain America movie. That's actually how he got the Captain America job, was they loved his work on The Rocketeer and it being a period piece. That's the other thing I think I really like about this movie is just the setting of it is really cool. I think it's neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
I think, you know what? I think this is something that directors nowadays just do not understand. That if you are loyal to like the original stuff, like where you get your movies basically, and you want to put them in the big screen, if you are faithful to to the original source, you are going to get good movies because they are already good stories. Nowadays, what they do is they grab a story, which is fine. Okay. I mean, they just did Dune, DU. They did Dune because they said they're going to do the second part, to complete Dune, right? So
So
you
first you
have
get
a
the
good
do,
story.
and then you get the
Exactly. Well, hopefully we'll get it. I mean, it's fine by me. He said, okay,
Yeah.
you have this story, you have a novel. I've read the novel several times. It's actually a very, very good novel. You don't expect the things that happen. It's pretty surprising. It's very well written. And so you got this good story with a good character arc. All you got to do is, just play around with it a little bit, because obviously you cannot be so like you can't script it exactly.
Yeah.
It's too long. So yeah, you shorten it out, play with it a little bit, but you don't mess with the whole thing. You don't mess with the whole thing, and that's what people nowadays, these directors, are doing. They're taking good stories and they're just messing around with them. They're not loyal, and obviously you get your backlash. I mean, what do people want? They want good entertainment. They want good stories.
Are
I don't
you
see any
referring to
problem
the
with that.
remake that they announced of this?
Well, they're making a remake for everything.
Yes.
so I mean,
Well, they're not just making a remake; they're redoing the story, because I don't think this story ever appeared in Dave Stevens novels, but
mhm,
they're doing it, I think, actually in the 50s, and it's supposed to be a former Tuskegee Airman somehow gets his hands
mhm,
on, whether
mhm.
he's kind of handed it down,
Well,
but
it's
he becomes the new
1938.
Rocketeer. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they're
So
gonna
it's the
it's
50s,
gonna
so
be
it's
passing on. Okay.
somebody, yeah, passed on to it. I can't think of his name, but he was uh, he was the evil corporate guy in the first uh, Planet of the Apes movie that they just did with James Franco. He was
Mm,
the guy in the chopper
right.
when the giant gorilla jumps out at him.
Mhm. Mhm.
He's producing, and then supposedly he's going to star as the new Rocketeer too. But that's not official. That's just
Rumors.
what's been out. That's the rumor. That's kind of what's been announced. But and
Hmm.
it's one of those where too, I go, I like the character and everything. I hope it's a good movie. If anything, I hope it's a movie about the Rocketeer. That's what I'm hoping for, if that makes sense. And again, same thing too. It's after the war. It's the 50s. I partly go, hopefully they do a good job of making it another good period movie. But again, I hope
Mhm.
it's just about being the Rocketeer, like we got with this movie, and not something else. But
Yeah. I mean, the
anywho,
story's
not to get too
good.
off track.
No, I mean, so talking about the plot is good. I mean, it's even though the rocket does get destroyed by the end of the movie, even though there are
Oh yeah, that's
blueprints.
right. I forgot about that. How could they do that for in a remake and a hand-me-down? That's right.
So it does get destroyed, but there are blueprints um,
Yes.
that were saved. No, they were saved by Jenny, okay,
Yes.
who happens to be Jennifer Connelly, right? So
Yes.
so the plot is good. I mean, you have this daredevil pilot who's young, enthusiastic. He has a girlfriend, who after like all the stuff comes on, he realizes that he does care a lot more for her than he did before, which, well, fair enough, okay. But uh, you see him mature, even though he's still a kid. He is still a kid, but you do see him mature a little bit more, and through the whole story, through a
Yeah.
story, and you see him, kind of get down to earth and say, well, some things you can do this and there are other things that you just can't decide on that. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think that's a good plot. Now, it's kind of sad that the rocket kind of blows up, but I think it was a great ending to a very, very short movie, because it's an hour and 45 minutes long, which nowadays is a short movie.
It moves pretty good, that's for sure. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying with story wise. I mean, it's really good with the setting. It's very, best way to describe it, it's very pulp. It's very much a pulp comics. If you've ever seen one of those old ones, science fiction themed. And like you said too, I mean, it's somebody who's very, I don't want to say immature, but outside of his own interest, he kind of just lives in the moment, and he doesn't not care for other people, especially his girlfriend. He's not very smart about everything he does, and quickly has to kind of grow up. And is not a reluctant hero though at all. I mean, he's actually very quick to be a hero and to do the right thing. But even kind of just takes on being a hero more towards the ending of it. And kind of has no fear about it.
And he doesn't. He has no fear of losing that which makes him a hero, which is his rocket pack. And that's what assuming a heroic stance is. You sacrifice something that can make you famous for the better good, for the good of the people in this case, and obviously saving the girl, which nowadays I don't know why, but people kind of cringe on that. You say, well, I mean, it's just a story, and that's fine. That's fine. Why not? Well, why don't they save the guy? Fine, save the guy, but don't make it something. Don't make an issue out of nothing.
Don't put down the guy that you're saving.
Yeah, I mean, okay,
just save him.
I mean, after you're married, I'm not going to go into that anyway. So
I was going to say, well, I got a couple other little facts we could talk about this too. Sure. So anybody want to guess what the budget was of this? Because it's a really good looking movie too. And this movie came out June 23rd, 1991. So what did I say? Oh,
it's just that Dan's going to say, I'm going to rewatch the movie. Yep.
There's no Illuminati in the movie, Dan. Don't worry.
No, don't worry. Huh? And don't watch it on a Thursday. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Avery says $2 million.
Well, Dax is pretty close there with his 32
million.
It was 35 million, which today would equal to 73.26 million. That's a lot. So, and even it's kind of funny. Even that amount of money too is not necessarily. I mean, look at some of the other movies that they make. They spend more than that too. I think it shows you how much better they were at using their money back then. And then, what do you think the box office was? Total box office. What do you think they took?
No idea.
So
you got me there.
This unfortunately was not as big of a hit as you would have thought. It only made 46.7 million.
That's sad.
And it opened up against Dying Young, which is a Julia Roberts movie. I've never seen it. The previous week, though, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves had come out. Plus, 2 weeks before that, City Slickers had come out. So,
okay.
back
so
then,
you had a lot of competition.
movies too. People went to
Oh,
go
wait a
see
second.
them, from week to week, a lot
Yeah.
more. There wasn't that immediate competition like we have nowadays. So I think
Hmm.
that's another reason why it didn't probably do as strong because of the Robin Hood and City Slickers. I'm sure more people
Hmm.
were going to the theater to see that. But
Yeah.
yeah, because I would have thought just watching this, not knowing anything, that this was a big movie. Like this had done a
Hmm.
lot of money. I felt
Hmm.
like.
And so just two comments. One
Yes.
was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That wasn't with
Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I love that movie. I love that
Now,
movie.
now I forget what it's called because it's Robin Hood something, but a few I want to say like 2 or 3 months prior, there was another Robin Hood movie that came out in 1991. I can't think of who was Robin Hood. Somebody who I want to say I think they played Robin Hood a little bit better because it was somebody who was actually I think British, and Uma Thurman was Maid Marian in it.
Oh, I don't remember because I remember
Yeah, but it had like
with
no marketing.
I remember Sean Connery, the Sean Connery one when they're old, and that was
Dak
that's
says at
one
least it
thing.
didn't have Ben Stiller.
Ex- this is I'm just going to stick with the first part of your sentence. At least they didn't star Ben Stiller, and the rest, which I'm sure remain that part, I'm not even going to. I'm going to completely ignore it. Okay. Um, if you want to lash it out, we'll go to the Discord and then. You know. And since this is my channel, okay. So
She's the boss.
yes, Avery. Yes. Yes, Dax. You know, wise
Not as good
words.
as Robin Hood Men in Tights. You're right. Robin Hood Men in Tights is definitely the superior Robin Hood movie.
Oh my gosh.
But
That,
is speaking of that, so I guess at this point, are we segueing into the cast and
yeah.
the characters?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. We are
Well,
traveling
speaking of
into
Robin Hood, I'm going to go a little out of order and first talk
sure.
about Timothy Dalton, who played Neville
Oh.
Sinclair.
Aw.
And he was such a good villain. And he actually plays a Errol Flynn-esque character who,
Mm-hmm.
ironically, himself was well known for playing Robin Hood. And
Mm-hmm.
he was actually always kind of rumored or suspected that he had ties to the Nazis, actually, which is kind of another play on that character, too, and just how he was created. And
Mm.
he even do like a faux Robin Hood movie, too, in the movie when he goes to the set. And I don't know, I love
Yeah.
that scene. I love like just all the stuff that's going on to bring that to life, where they got the music going and everybody's doing their little part. Everybody's got their little cheesy lines, and I don't know. I just think that's cool to see. Even though it's a movie in a movie, just to see the game. I
Yeah.
don't know why. And it's
Yeah.
all facade too, right? The whole castle behind it, it's all plywood. That's
Yes.
all it is. It's just a plywood frame. Magic of Hollywood. But yeah, he was so good. I felt like in this as a villain, and then too, even kind of as he went from the British voice to at the end, then
Mm-hmm.
you got the little German twang to him.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I thought he was a great villain, and then not only that too, another kind of thing that was always like a rumor. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people always kind of said it, fan wise. But like in the early '90s, if you ever read Wizard magazine, the comic book magazine, they'd always do fan casting call, and they did Iron Man, and they picked Timothy Dalton to be Iron Man. So even too, like him with the jetpack, even though Iron Man didn't have a jetpack on, it was always very Iron Man-esque to me, that scene. And not only that, Terry Quinn, I'm jumping ahead a little bit in the cast, who plays Howard
Fine.
Hughes, always within a great Howard Stark too. I felt like those two. But anyways, yeah. Since we got talking about Robin Hood and Ray Ron is in here. Hello, Ray Ron.
Hey, Rayron.
I just wanted
Great
to
to see
bring
you.
him up first,
Yeah.
but I'll let you pick somebody else from the cast. next.
Well, actually, Jennifer Connelly, I did like in this movie.
I was like, I was saying a joke and go, you're gonna go with Jenny.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's just she's so mature. I mean, you can definitely see a difference in years. So, like Labyrinth, she was what, 14? You mentioned
Yeah.
that she was 14 when she did that, and that was back in 1986, which they filmed probably in 1985. I'm guessing.
yeah.
So you're talking
Well, so in
about just
'85 she
6 years.
was 14. Yeah. So not during the release of it, but yeah.
Yeah. So what in those 5 years you can see that she has matured in her
Mhm.
acting, and that was really good. And the fact, well, the dress, the costume designs were really precise for that era, and I think she did a good job. um, Obviously, well, the main actor,
Billy
Billy
Campbell.
Campbell. Billy Campbell was also. I thought he did a really
Yeah.
really good job as well. I mean, it wasn't overacting. It was pretty natural. He was a kid who matured. I mean, he did do his job, from like a stunt pilot, a race pilot, into a hero.
Yeah.
He did achieve that maturity within, you know 90 minutes,
Yeah.
a little bit more than 90 minutes. So I think that was really really good acting. I was
And
surprised. I hadn't seen Timothy
Hurry.
Dalton's name, because obviously I recognize the actor, you know and I don't know why. I must have looked at somewhere else, because the credits are at the beginning of the movie. So when I saw him there, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Timothy Dalton. Oh my gosh, he's so young.
Yeah. Well, he was 2 years removed from his last James Bond movie too. I mean, he ended, the '80s as James Bond, um,
Hmm.
which he was somebody else that was like another really good role. He was good at that. I kind of wish he was able to have done a few more films. And yeah, I thought Jennifer Connelly was very good and definitely, yeah, had since matured. She also too, she kind of pulls off that era's looks very well.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it's just the way they style their hair, but like she looks like she jumped out of the 30s, 1940s.
Hmm. Definitely.
Uh, and then yeah, Billy Campbell I thought was really good, and it's amazing that he didn't do more
Hmm.
after this. He, his kind of next big thing that he did the following year, he was actually
Hmm.
in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, and then
Hmm.
the only other big movie that he did was he did a movie with J Lo in like
Hmm.
2002 called Enough, where he
Hmm.
beats her up, and at the end of the film, she beats him up, and then she knocks him off of like a windowsill or something and kills him.
Ouch.
It's about an abusive husband,
Okay, that's not cool. Oh,
but
well, anyway.
I mean, other than that, he's done like a lot of TV. But yeah, I'm just
Hmm.
shocked he
Hmm.
didn't kind of get bigger roles out of this. Because yeah, I thought he was good,
Hmm.
and
I
then
thought I thought it was his acting was fresh. That's that's
yeah,
that's what came to me. I saw him as his character. I'm like, this is refreshing. You know.
yeah,
So I thought that was brilliant. Really good.
and well, that's kind of the other thing too, where you could almost kind of go too, like they could have potentially gotten somebody well known,
Mm-hmm.
but that's kind of all you would have really thought of. I feel like the fact that since he was new,
Mm-hmm.
um, you didn't really think of him as like another actor. At least, like example, like Timothy Dalton. The entire time you're like, it's
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Dalton. That's all you can think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but with somebody new, you're not really thinking that. You're thinking of him just as the character. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and
Yeah,
then
I agree.
Alan Arkin was Peavy, who I thought he was great as Peavy.
Yeah.
Other than that, relationship was a little odd because he was just so much older, and they seemed to know each other for a while too, which kind of also made me wonder, like, well, how old is Cliff supposed to be compared to Jenny? Too. That was one thing like that I thought was slightly off,
Mm,
but I loved Alan Arkin in this movie. He was kind of
mm.
the voice of reason for Cliff, especially
Mhm.
kind of in trying times for him.
Mhm. You
And
see, I thought it was a relationship, like a father-son relationship, even though you knew that they weren't. But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you probably read the graphic novel, there's probably a little bit more to that. I'm almost kind of
mm,
assuming that either Peavy maybe was a pilot at one point, or just
mhm,
he was somebody that at some point somehow discovered airplanes and just
mhm,
Peavy kind of took him under his wing. And yeah,
mhm,
but he was good. But yeah, I mean, not only he was his voice of reason, but he was always kind of his champion too
mhm,
when things, and either people were accusing him of things or after him, when the gangsters showed up, he protected them.
mhm,
It was like,
mhm,
you know, he was just here, real short guy, uh,
mm.
gimpy leg.
Yeah. Yeah. I and also I tried to look up. I couldn't find the name of the actor. The guy who did that Gigantor
Tiny
with the,
Ron.
that's his name, Tiny Ron. I couldn't
That's
get
his.
it.
His name is Tiny Ron. He was 7 feet tall. He actually not only played Lothar. Um,
Okay.
he played actually one of the. They called him a good old boy, but I would have called him a farmer. So the scene
Okay.
when after he saves, I cannot think of the gentleman's name, but the guy who was trying to save his job, he saves him, and he goes shooting across the cornfield, and you see the two farmers. The one guy goes,
Oh yeah.
"Big gopher." The guy who's
Yeah.
not saying anything, that's Tiny Ron, and he Tiny Ron was played a henchman in Roadhouse with Patrick
Okay.
Swayze. He's a big giant guy. See him in that. And
Wow.
he also played. If you ever watched uh, Police Squad, the TV show that the Naked
Yeah.
Gun is based off of, in the very
Yeah.
first Naked Gun movie, Al, the big giant tall scientist, who he's like, Al, there's
Uh-huh.
something inside of your mouth, and he flicks it, and the banana piece falls down.
Ew.
Yeah, that's who Tiny Ron is, and sadly he passed away like 2 years
I was
ago, I believe.
I was
Um,
trying to find it. I was trying to find him, but I
yeah,
couldn't.
he's listed very low in the credits, and don't show a picture, but he
Oh.
is Lothar, and not only that, but his makeup was actually based off of another actor called Rondo Hatton, who was
Mm,
a big kind of B movies horror actor from
mm,
that era, and he was actually somebody that he had gotten hit with mustard gas in World War I, and they thought that that had deformed him. He had actually gotten a
mm.
tumor on his pituitary gland, and instead of making him actually
Oh.
tall, he was only about 5'9". It essentially grew his features of
Mhm.
his face and his hands,
Mhm.
his extremities essentially,
Mhm.
and it was kind of read a little bit about him. It's a little bit of a sad story. He was
Mm,
a very kind man, but he,
mm,
because of this, tumor he
mhm.
got, it made him grotesque, and I think
Mhm.
his first wife left him because of it, and then
Oh.
you know he kind of got
Mhm.
stuck in contracts playing the same thing over and over again, and he
Mm,
kind of
mm,
hated the fact that he was always the monster, the evil bad guy.
mm.
But yeah, that's who that was. Paul Sorvino's in it. He plays Eddie Valentine,
Yeah.
which I like Paul Sorvino, but man, talk about typecasting. Paul Sorvino is a gangster. Wow, shocker.
Jeez, that's
Um,
weird.
yeah, I mean,
But I
you just see
I
if you
really
see Paul Sorvino in a suit, you're like, oh, he's a
yeah,
gangster.
yeah, exactly. But I really liked the end part. Remember, huge spoilers. The end part was really heartwarming because when Cliff tells him, "Well, why don't you ask him about the Nazis?" The gangster, like Valentine said, "What is he talking about?" You know, I may not earn an honest buck, but I'm
100%
100% American.
American.
I'm 100% American.
So there's another interesting story to that too. So that's actually a nod to the fact that as the U.S. was entering into World War II,
Uh-huh.
the FBI went to the mafia and essentially struck a deal with them to defend the U.S. coast if there was ever an invasion.
Mm.
Um, and the Italian mafia in particular did not like the Nazis and did not like
Mhm,
Mussolini.
mhm.
Is that who it was?
In
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Italy. Yep. Mhm.
yeah, because they hated fascism, and
Mhm.
so they were like, yeah, they're like, without a doubt, we will protect the U.S. if anything
Mhm.
comes this way.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the U.S. secretly had a line of defense in the mafia, and then I think too they were kind of extended some, you know,
Mhm.
we'll let you do this and
Yeah.
not
We'll
bug
let you get
you.
away with this.
We'll let you, you can get away with this. But yeah, that was actually a nod to that
Uh-huh.
that history fact too, which I thought was
Uh-huh.
very interesting and cool that they threw that in there. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
it is kind of it's like Zangief and Wreck-It Ralph. You are a bad
Mhm.
guy, but you are not bad guy.
Yeah. So that was really nice. I
Yeah,
didn't expect that because you would think that they wouldn't care who the money came from because that's what Timothy.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't matter if I'm paying you well. What does it matter where the money comes from? And he's like, hang on a second. You know, we ain't no
yeah,
fascists. So I
yeah.
thought
Well,
that's
that and
probably
then
what
there's
a
even a
lot of
moment
people.
they're shooting guns at the
Yeah.
Nazis and the Fed and Eddie Valentine kind of look at each other and they're like, "Okay, I'm fine with this. Just keep shooting it."
It's
uh,
true. It's true. And is
yep.
it true? And perhaps people in the chat can help me out. Is it true that all pilots have to chew gum for luck?
So that I don't know, but I looked up and it said that Beeman's was the like unofficial gum for pilots. Like anybody who was a
Okay.
pilot chewed Beeman's. I don't know if they stuck their gum on their airplanes, if they did anything like that. But
Yeah, that was
and
disgusting.
and there's one final. I had a few other people, but we'll keep things moving. But there is one more that I got to
Hmm.
throw out there because if I don't, my wife will be like, "Why didn't you mention that?" Um,
Oh, and we
the
know how
scene.
she knows how to fight. So.
Yeah, she knows where to find me. It's really what it is. I'm upstairs. But when they get to the South Seas Club, the singer
Yeah.
singing, if anybody who watched this in preparation outside of me and Maria, is Melora Hardin, who was Jan Levinson Gould on The Office. That's well, okay. Maria has not watched The Office. That was one of Michael's girlfriends. That was Michael's boss,
Ah, okay.
who he was in love with, and then yeah, and then they had an unfortunate dinner party and then broke up. Um, but yeah, she and what's funny is she would sing on the show. There was a
Hmm.
few episodes where she did it, and it was like real awkward and weird. But she is like a singer in real life.
Huh, that's
Uh,
cool.
so
Yeah. No, well, and obviously, the costume design was spectacular. You know,
yes,
it was just so classy. You know, it was just so classy back then, and I don't know, it just brought up,
his jacket that he wears, it's almost like that motorcycle jacket. I don't know what you would call that.
hmm.
Where it's not really it's weird. It's not like it's buttoned up. It's like a panel that's buttoned up.
No, it's doubled. It's doubled. Yeah,
Breasted, is that what
it's
that is?
yeah, double
Okay.
breasted or double buttoned.
Yeah, that looked so cool though with the helmet and the jetpack like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, I love his, superhero outfit if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and it was pretty simple.
Yeah.
It was a simple costume. But I was thinking more like well, the singer like Jennifer, like the whole ambience was just spot on I think, for the 1930s and getting into
Yeah.
the 1940s. So they were
And
able to give that air. You know?
yeah, well, even too, like for like a set too, like Neville Sinclair's house, all the
Mm-hmm.
Art Deco, and he had all like those pillars that were all carved,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
like even that was like very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Especially too, like I watched this. I've got a giant TV that's 4K and watched it in
Mm-hmm.
4K, so like really
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of detail. But like his house in particular, I
Mm-hmm.
really thought was like one of the most impressive sets of that movie,
Mm-hmm.
with all the Art Deco design to it. It was
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Mm-hmm. 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 Exactly. It was really cool. And you know what? When she went into the library and she took the book, it
Yeah,
reminded me, amazingly enough, it reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade
yeah,
when they were stuck in the fireplace.
yeah. They spin
Him
it
and Sean
around.
Connery,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
spin
yeah.
around. Yeah, it was. I thought it was like that. I was like, oh my gosh! And she finds like the Nazi
The
radio.
radio. Yep.
Hmm.
There
And the
was
book.
yeah, his Nazi book. There was a scene that they cut from it. I think it's on the DVD that
Mm.
he goes in earlier in the film. He goes into that room and he like sends like a coded message with the Enigma machine. That was like a real
Mhm.
well-known
Mhm.
encryption machine that the Nazis used. So there was a little bit more of that. But yeah, I thought that was neat. And
You see,
even too,
I wouldn't have liked that scene. I think it was good that they cut it.
yeah, I'm sure for pacing too. I mean, right? That's probably something that kind of slows it down. Where do you really need to see him send
Mm,
a message to the Nazis?
Not really, actually.
Yeah,
You know what? I think they did a good job in cutting that scene
yeah.
because
Well, I'm in agreement of you of saying that it was good that they cut it. I'm just saying they had that
no,
as an
no.
extra.
It's just that
Okay.
it's not because of the extra and time wise. It was more like because I actually didn't expect him that much to be a Nazi, you know, to that extent. I didn't know where he got it, how he got it, So what you're telling me is that at the beginning of the movie, or at least for not
You,
very, I don't know.
uh,
I
well, I
thought
was
it
gonna
was coded
say,
at the end.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how early in the film it was, but I mean, it was before that scene had happened. That's all
Mm.
I had read about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't like it happened like early in the film. Like I don't think it necessarily
Mm.
gave it away, but
Mm,
or
mm,
maybe it was it happened afterwards. Like they showed him
mm,
sending a message, and I'm assuming it's the
mhm,
Hindenburg because you hear that pilot on the radio too, and she's like,
mhm.
"Hello, I need help." Um, and as you said too, like Indiana Jones. I mean, Indiana Jones is based off of pulp characters of
Mhm,
the 30s, and
mhm.
um, I even kind of felt like watching that too. That it kind of had that feeling. I don't know if you were going to show any of the posters that
Yeah, I
we had
am
found,
actually.
and
Mhm,
because there's actually a couple too that kind of have an Indiana Jones quality to them as well, which is I really
mhm.
liked
Let's
too.
see.
But
We got
yeah,
this. There we go.
okay. So the top left, that was like the teaser poster, but that's I feel like the most commonly seen one. I think most people are familiar with. And then
Mhm,
the next one, the one in the middle, top middle, that's actually got the release date on it.
mhm.
And I'm trying to look at our screen there. There we go. And then I believe yeah, the top right was like once it was like in the theatrical run. That's
Mhm.
the one that was up. But below that, I want to say the bottom left. That's the one
That's the
that
one.
I love. I think that's
This
the
one here,
coolest poster. No.
or this one here. This one here.
Yeah, that one right there, the side view of
Yeah.
him. I think that one
Mhm.
is really cool. I know you like that Japanese poster.
Oh,
that when I showed it to you. I mean,
I
that one is
I like these two actually. This one I really like because it gives a sense of somebody who is fast, a hero. I think also this
yeah
is pretty cool. But I think this one is pretty amazing too because you do have a sense of the relationship between them that he's wanting to protect her and he's well he's the evil guy. What
yeah.
surprised me in the movie was at the end, how the heck did they get this global helio thing all the way to what, Los Angeles?
Well, so they talk about, remember when they go to watch the movie in the beginning on their date? They
Uh-huh.
show the Hindenburg, and they're like, Hindenburg's on its, world tour, and it's going to go to New Jersey, and then it's going to go
Uh-huh.
to, it was like Chicago,
Uh-huh.
and then it says, and then it's off to Los Angeles. So now
Ah.
the Hindenburg never made it that far. It crashed in New Jersey, but it was kind of like clearly like this is a cover.
Mm-hmm.
This was all being planned
Ah, okay.
to intercept
Yeah.
the rocket pack.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, that's where that came along.
Okay.
Other than I almost want to say that probably maybe showed up when it wasn't expected.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know if that was technically supposed to be the Hindenburg. Maybe it was like they were trying to imply that they sent two
Mm-hmm.
blimps
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. But that was kind of brought up, the blimp though,
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
course it was taking. So
Mm-hmm. And then there's this other one I'm going to share right now. Window, no, this one here. There it is. Share, and then we have these ones right here.
yeah, and
So,
I, as far as I know, other than the top left, that one I want to say is kind of what you see if you buy the DVD these
mm-hmm.
days. That was like the DVD release.
Mm-hmm.
But the other ones,
Mm-hmm.
the other three, I believe, are all fan made. I don't think those are actually ever used officially promotion.
Well, it's
I
not
really,
bad actually.
yeah, I mean, I really like yeah, the top right one just because that lettering is
Mm-hmm.
very Indiana Jones, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of neat too, where get to see him in a full suit.
Mm-hmm.
But those two are really cool. I'm trying to think of who that artist is that he's essentially well known for doing like the Indiana Jones and did
Mm-hmm.
um, Star Wars, the prequel
Mm-hmm.
posters. I want to say I think he
Mm-hmm.
did like the Harry Potter posters too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think
This
those
one's
are cool
interesting
too.
also. I think this one's
And
very, very interesting, very artistic. Gives you a sense
uh,
of 1930s also.
yeah, well, and as I said, the bottom right one, it's something
Mm-hmm.
about that makes me think of the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. I don't know why. I think it's just the lettering.
Good.
But again, I like it. I mean, I like both of them.
Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh. This one's
I
interesting
think
too because it does give you a taste of what's going on.
yeah,
I would get rid
yeah,
of
the
the
bottom
dog
left.
though.
Oh, the
I would get rid
restaurant.
of the
Well, there's a lot that goes on at that dog restaurant, at the Bulldog Diner. So it does kind of make sense. But yeah, you mean you get to see Neville Sinclair and you get to see Lothar, which
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is kind
Mm-hmm.
of interesting. Shockingly, though, that they don't have like Peavy on that cover at all. Of like all the
Mm.
characters that you think that they would have on there.
See, I would
He
add Peavy instead of the dog.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say Peavy's not on any of these
Mm-hmm.
at all, but still, I thought those were both very cool too. I was trying to look
Mm-hmm.
for posters, but like I said, as far as I know, those are all fan made. Those were
Mm.
never
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like official. So
And well, oh, the
uh,
music was absolutely spectacular.
yeah,
But I am a big fan of soundtracks, so I thought it was really really nice. And again, like precise. It
it fit the era
expanded on.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Precise. And like the theme of the Rocketeer, even though it stands on its own. So
Hmm.
if you hear it, for example, if you put it on Spotify or anything, you're gonna know it's them, and it's gonna be the Rocketeer. So I thought it was really
Yeah.
nice. Like the building of the whole of
Oh
the
yeah.
theme.
Yeah, when he kind of the first moment too of him taking off to go save, I cannot think of that character's name, but who's up doing the clown act. Is
I'll
just
tell you right this minute.
is
He's
perfect.
Superman's dad. He's Superman's dad. Wait a second.
Superman's dad. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that guy did play Jonathan Kent, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. That was great.
That's right. Still can't think of his name right now.
His name is. I had him on here. Now I don't. Oh well. I'll.
Well, Superman's dad, when he goes to save
Superman's
dad. Yeah, that right there is great. Even too, like that opening score too, when they're like getting the plane ready to take off, and I love that too. And that was like another really, really great like moment, that
it's just
definite
a nice
song.
It's a good movie, and it's very, very well done. Very compact, very. It's just. Well, his name was Malcolm, right? Eddie Jones.
Malcolm, that's right. Malcolm is his name. No, I was trying to think of to compare it to is like it kind of reminded me of Memphis Belle. If you've ever watched that, that's a movie that takes place during World War II, and that's got another like very like the score for it just fits for the era really well. I like it.
So Eddie Jones is Superman's dad.
Pa Kent.
So the actor, obviously, because you have the rugby, you have the coach, you have many Eddie Jones. But Eddie Jones was an American actor who was known as playing Clark Kent's father in The Adventures of Superman, which is where I knew him. But anyway, I think if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's such a nice film for the weekend.
Yeah.
Dan, wake up!
Woke me up.
So definitely a good movie. I think they scored a point with the whole story. So.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen this, you really need to watch it. This is a lot of fun. This is something too, I think, for the most part, majority of everybody can watch. My son is 7. He watched it. He liked it.
Definitely a family.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the guy Lothar's a little spooky looking, but that's kind of the point. But nothing terrifying, though.
No, it's not terrifying. It's not even a dark movie. It's just a good comic. A good live action comic. Whereas nowadays, you don't get that. You don't get that. So definitely. Go ahead.
Just made me think of no. I was looking at my kind of notes that I had, and it was making me think of too with the music, where like another score part that I really liked was when he finally meets Howard Hughes, and he's like, "I can't give you the rocket back. I gotta go save my girlfriend." And he, when he escapes, he grabs onto an airplane and he flies, and you hear Howard Hughes is really looking more at the airplane than Cliff, and he's like, like son of a gun, it will fly. So that's a model of, if you're not familiar with, it's the Spruce Goose. If you ever watched the Aviator movie, this was this gigantic plane that Howard Hughes had designed for World War II to transport, I don't know how many troops, but like a very large amount of troops, and I think it's some ordnance too. And the U.S. was not really in favor for it, and he was, not only that, but like the size of it too. They're like, how can you make that out of metal? Because it's gonna weigh too much. But it was made out of wood. It was made out of spruce, and that's why it was nicknamed the Spruce Goose. It was actually known as the H4 Hercules. But I thought that was another kind of just, if you know anything about history, know anything about him and everything, that was very much a kind of neat nod to that moment of history. But I also love the music too when he escapes, and it's really great.
Well, it's definitely knowing your history, and it's doing your research, basically, doing your research properly and putting it on screen. Yeah, it's nothing more than that. So, so this is kind of a wake-up call also to the directors, if we ever have any directors watching us. I do know there is a to-be famous director who did a fan film of Star Wars recently. It was rolled a few years back, and it premiered, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, sort of. Yeah. Interesting take. But yeah.
Somebody gets a space STD though in that movie, and I did find that interesting.
Yes.
Nobody wants to get a Star Wars.
No. Anyway, final thoughts?
Need to watch it if you've never watched it, and if you've seen the movie before and haven't watched it in a while, watch it again because it's a lot of fun.
Yes. It's a really
very good movie.
Yeah. And anyway, there is a
Did you see that ghost? Yes, I did see that Canadian ghost.
Somewhere in there. But anyway, he said, yes, I'm awake. Good. Christopher Reeve is a good Superman. Yeah, you're definitely awake. And I agree to a certain extent. As much as I love Christopher Reeves, I do like The Adventures of Superman, which is
Dean Cain.
Yeah, Dean Cain was a great Superman in my book. And of course, Henry Cavill is Henry Cavill.
Gee, Maria, why do you like Henry Cavill?
I love his acting. I just love his acting. What can I say?
Sure, his acting.
You don't believe me?
No. I believe you. Of course I do.
Thank you.
Well, if you don't know, we have a Discord, by the way, and we've got a few people on there now. But mostly it's just you, me, and Tom at Rogue Disney talking. But we would love to have some more people on there. I have posted the link, but if you would like to come join it, just shoot a message to me or Maria, and we'll send you the invite.
And remember that through Discord, we can have watch parties. We can have reactions. Yes. We can definitely do, if we're doing, for example, a live stream, just an example, like an Among Us live stream, we can definitely work through there. So there are really good advantages in joining our server after the weekend on the Discord. So
we haven't done any of that yet, but
no, not yet.
We'd like to.
I still have my reaction video that that I really want to do with a few of you. So if you're up for it, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to surprise you guys. Definitely. But you got to have an open mind, broad mind for this one.
And then should we mention kind of the special episode we want to do in November? For a certain movie?
We do. Oh, I'm so excited. Do the honors, please. I'm so excited to talk.
So, well, this was Maria's idea. So we are going to do a new movie, something that's new, something that's not old. So we will have a review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. So we're both going to try to see it as quickly as we can once it comes out. It's kind of coming. I want to say it's November 18th or November 19th. So it's coming up soon. And even for that, we might have a guest or two to review with us too. So once we have that, maybe locked in. We'll make an announcement of that in preparation, but we're both excited to do a new movie, even though as much as we love older movies.
And we're going to be watching older movies still up. And
Yes.
Dan, actually, the reaction is a surprise reaction. Because if I tell you now, you're going to watch it. And that's not fair. I want it to be like a live streaming reaction. And yes, we're doing Ghostbusters in November. Okay.
Yes.
Good, Dan. Awesome. So yeah.
Yep.
So just remember, guys, I will be having another podcast with Rayron. If you're still on there, Rayron, thank you so much for coming. Crochet, collectibles, and chatting. We are going to be on Rayron's channel this time. He's going to be posting the link later. If not, he has posted the link, but he will probably retweet it, and so will I. And I will be premiering my Serenity doll that I am finally finishing. It has been a lot of work.
Is that Sailor Moon?
Yes. Princess
Okay, I just want to make
Serenity.
sure because I'm like, when I think Serenity, I think of Firefly.
It's not
I think of that
Serendipity.
TV show. Not Serendipity. Who said that?
Okay. No.
Serenity. The TV show Firefly. If you ever watched that, I was thinking of the ship when I hear Serenity. So I figured you weren't crocheting a ship, so that's why I guess Sailor Moon.
No, I prefer characters more than things. But anyway, they sell more. So I'm going to be premiering that. It's I hope you guys like that. And then on Thursday, as always, Dan, listen up. Thursday, 8:15 Central Time. Okay, that would be 9:15 on your time. I will be live as every Thursday on Unlocking Lore, my storytelling podcast. And I would really like for people to comment, to tell me what they like, share it. Remember that storytelling is not an easy art. It's a very subtle art, and only if you are able to actually experience it, it's where the magic comes. So hopefully you'll be joining me for that.
I like when you do guys' voices on that. That always makes me laugh.
What?
Yeah. When you do your guy voice when you're telling a story, I always crack up at it.
Well, thank you for telling me. That's interesting.
It's not bad. I like it though. It makes me laugh when I hear it in a good way. I mean that sincerely in a good way. That's my favorite part is whenever when you're telling a story and you do voices. But when you do your guy voice, it always makes me giggle a little bit.
I try to deepen my voice.
Yes, you do.
But
I think you should do more voices though. I like it.
Thank you. Well, it's a technique. There's some storytellers who do not do voices at all. They have all the same voice, and it's actually pretty amazing because they do capture you. So that's what's magical. I do voices because it's me.
But you're talking to somebody when he reads to his son. I do voices a lot of times for him, and he giggles. So I like it.
And by the way, all my stories are all, you could say nowadays, inclusive. Okay. All my stories are inclusive because they are, I do not have any adult stories, any adult content. If they are not directed to children specifically, the content is, you could say, a little bit for a mature mind, but that doesn't mean that if your kid is listening, anything's going to happen. So just a shout out for that, because some people, I do have storytellers who do only adults shows, which I personally do not go to at all, because I don't like those stories.
That just makes
dark.
Me think. I was going to say, when I hear that, for some reason in my head, the description is like a graphic, dirty puppet show or something.
It is. No, and they do get graphic, so I do not like that. So you read the story, you make it up. No, Dan, I do not read the story. It's not story reading, it's storytelling. That's one thing. Second of all, for those of you who do not know how storytelling works, some people do make up their own stories. I do know a storyteller from Scotland. He's a blast, and he actually writes and makes up his own stories. So that's kudos to him. I do not. I love traditional old stories. I really enjoy listening, telling those stories. So thank you so much, Dunadan, for coming on and staying on for so long.
Yes, thank you, Dunadan. Appreciate it.
I hope you join us on another time. And just to finish up, Dan, what I do is when I encounter a story that I love, whether I read it or I listen to it, I learn it by the images that my imagination projects. So I learn the story arc, and then I tell it in my own words, being as faithful to the original source as possible, which is extremely difficult. Stories come out a little different through each storyteller. So I learn certain parts of stories, key parts that lead to the next section. And usually, and for example, for long stories, and I'm talking about 45-minute long stories, which is extremely long, you have different chapters. You have different episodes in which you learn like the arc of one and then the other one, and then until you finish the whole story. It kind of wraps it up. So yeah, that is how I do my storytelling.
Yeah, and then she wears your hoodie too while she does it, Dan. So you should feel even more guilty if you don't show up.
And we're going to, in October, I told everybody we're going to go dark mode. So it's going to be stories a little darker, but as always, are all inclusive. So I know Gothic, I know Raven is going to enjoy that. Horror Amorosa, always will enjoy those stories too. And I hope you guys too.
Hey, so what's our movie for next time, by the way?
It's my turn. Yes.
That's right.
And then with this, we wrap it up. We are going to watch Willow. Willow is our next movie. For those of you who have
I'm
not
excited
watched
about that.
I love this movie. This movie is like, yes, it is like one of my all-time favorites. And
the brownies.
Yes!
I stole her while you were taking a pee-pee.
Yeah!
Yeah.
I love that.
Pack.
We are going to be watching Willow for the next one. I hope you guys join us for that. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's an amazing film.
It's such a good movie too. Which,
yeah.
Not to spoil it, but it was George Lucas produced, and I think he wrote the story. Plus, it was directed by Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
such a good movie.
For that. I haven't seen Little as Dax, this is the moment. This is your opportunity to watch it.
Oh, you got to watch it now. Which,
yep.
That would be, so this will be October 11th. Dax. So you got till October 11th to watch it and be prepared.
And of course, my mom's going to be there. Willow! I know she loves this movie. I know it. So that's why I also kind of said, no.
Hello, Norma.
So, yeah, we're going to be watching that. Join us for that. And I think that's it.
Yes.
Is there anything else? If not?
No. Hit the like button and subscribe.
Okay. Then we will see you guys. I will see you guys in 2 days, hopefully.
Yes.
And if not, on Thursday.
And I'll see you guys October 11th.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.